Deixa eu fechar tudo aqui.
Munir, do you have in your book opening the right page?
Yes.
Which page
It's
it is? Because everything is slow here. I'm not moving.
453. Item 341.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Liz.
Hello.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning, Lily.
I'll be without camera and no, I'll move my microphone. I'll be listening.
Okay.
Bom dia.
Bom
Bom dia,
dia.
Roger.
Yeah, Roger.
Bom dia.
Bom dia, Lili.
Lolita will be with us in a minute.
Very good. And I will be ready as soon as the acrobat allows me to be ready. Munir, do you have the book open in your computer?
I do, Guilherme.
So can you share with us? Some reason it's not working.
Yes. Okay. You have to allow me to be co-host now, because I lost all the status. Yeah.
Oh, I see. I see. I'll put you as a co-host. Come on. It's 341, right, Munir?
341. Yeah.
It's okay. It's working now. Sorry.
No
Sorry.
problem. I'll stop sharing that.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, I will start with our prayer. Master Jesus, we are together again in your name, in the presence of our benefactors, our friends, all those that need to participate of this humble study, with the objective to improve ourselves and perhaps improve others. Be with us today and always. So be it.
Amen.
Munir, I'll give up. Start again.
Yeah. Okay.
With you. Sorry.
All right. Can you see the book? Yeah.
I do not.
No.
Just a minute.
I can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can see.
Yes.
What's going on with me today? Well, Munir, can you take over? Because there's something
Yeah.
really weird here.
Okay. So last week we stopped here, item 341. So let's carry on. The influence of the surroundings derives from the nature of the spirits and the way in which they act upon human beings. From this influence, we can deduce for ourselves the most favorable conditions for a society that aspires to attracting the sympathy of good spirits, for obtaining worthwhile communications and avoiding bad ones. The conditions depend entirely on the moral character of the participants and may be summed up as follows. So we see the importance of the surroundings as well. And the surroundings and the influence is very much attached to the intention of the group. If it's serious, if it's not serious, if the group follows one of these, or, as many of these conditions as pointed out further down by Kardec. So let's see which, moral character are the ones that Kardec listed here. First one is perfect commonality of ideas and sentiments. So this is something that is very important, the purpose behind the formation and the work of that particular group. So we should be harmonious, common ideas, common sentiments, and the group becomes very, very strong. And of course, the surroundings will have a positive or negative influence depending on these ideas and sentiments that the group has. Guilherme, feel free to add your comments as well, please.
Mhm.
So that's why we see sometimes to have a smaller group of people who, are very close together in ideas and sentiments will be more profitable than, a large group with a diversity of characters. It's difficult to keep the harmony. The second one is mutual benevolence amongst the members. So that's why what we should actually express and feel regarding the other members of the group. Let's leave aside any differences, because we are all different. We have points that are common, points that are different, but let's look at what we have in common and see if what unites us, is good enough to keep the influence and the assistance of good spirits and not, bad spirits. Rejection of every sentiment contrary to true Christian charity. So, again, the Christian values are very important for us and for us to struggle to follow. Since we are not perfect, we have many imperfections. Let's not, give way to these imperfections, but keep on fighting them. As Kardec himself said, a good spiritist is not the one that is perfect, but the one who is constantly fighting his imperfections. He said in a different way, but I'm using my own words. A single desire to learn and improve through good spirits' teachings and taking advantage of their counsels. Again, we have this option to unite ourselves, to use the bonds of charity, the bonds of good sentiments, of good ideas to keep us united and under the assistance of good spirits. And of course, their counseling is very important, because through their counseling, we receive the teachings that we need to progress. Kardec, we mentioned cases where people just want, they're just looking for amusement. They're just looking for proofs with preconceived ideas. Basically, whatever we show them regarding the reality of the spirit world, they already, they are already crystallized in their own ideas. They will find the most weird excuses not to accept the truth in front of them. So we see that at this point, we can't just keep someone like that within the group and still keep the harmony. But this is very important, the counseling of good spirits. And to get the counseling of good spirits, we should follow these precepts here. Whoever is convinced that highly evolved spirits manifest for the purpose of enabling us to progress and not simply to please us will understand that they must avoid those who limit themselves to admiring their style without profiting from their ideas, and who are only attracted to sessions due to the greater or lesser interest they offer according to their individual tastes. So basically, it's just what, just said. Some people are interested in names. Oh, this is a message and so and so. But what about the content of the message? What are we doing? Each member of the group is doing regarding the teachings that, the spirits bring. Oh, but the medium made a mistake. He misspelled that word, or, this kind of thing. People sometimes are very picky and concentrate on the content of the message. It's not only, important for us to evaluate what level of spirit is giving us a communication, but of course extracting the essence of that. And when it is, it comes from an evolved spirit, we should be the first ones to benefit from that. It is for us, for our moral improvement. Oh, no, it doesn't apply to me. This is a message for someone else. Or, oh, it's just another message. I put that on a pile and forget. No, if they're having the trouble to come and give us counseling, that's because we need that counseling. They could come with something completely different that wouldn't apply to us, but instead they choose what we need in the work that we are doing, for our personal development and so on.
Munir,
Yeah.
Something came to my mind that from time to time we get people coming to us to visit us or to join one of the activities, and they have a question. Oh, do you receive suffering spirits? The mediumship meeting is not just to get nice messages. And honestly, I respect anyone's points of view, but unless it's a very specific work, this meeting just to get nice messages or nice speeches is really nonsense to me. Because from time to time, having one benefactor that comes on the meeting and give us a message, yes, that's very welcome and that's normal. But having a meeting with, let's say, 12 mediums, where all the 12 mediums are giving nice messages, I would ask myself what's going on. Because there is something not quite right, and I would investigate further to really identify what is the purpose of this meeting, why we are getting that amount of nice message, what's going on really, because in my experience, this is something that does not occur. Again, if it's a very specific work of something that has been planned by the spiritual world, if it's something that you being told, well, we're going to do a different work in that condition under those circumstances, fair enough. But having a normal mediumship meeting just to get a nice message, I think that we are missing something, right?
Yeah, very important what you're saying, Guilherme. And one point that I find very interesting in the medium's book is that Kardec, he explains in this case, the counseling of good spirits, but they come to give us guidance regarding the work that we are doing. So it's not directly for our moral improvement, but for us to provide better assistance for the spirits who are coming and suffering. Of course, perhaps one group will have a specific task, as you said, during a certain time. We don't know how long. But Kardec is not saying that this is the only thing that should happen.
No,
He shows different conditions, yeah. But as we're going to see, he mentions that. Don't expect to get only good spirits, to learn with good spirits, he said.
I had a situation in the past where one of the mediums was afraid because he thought a medium was only to receive good messages. I said, well, not here. Sorry, not here. So I didn't dig it out to be sure what was happening from where he came from. That was not my purpose. I was not in the right to do that either. But I said to him, not here. The purpose of our meetings is to help suffering spirits.
Yeah.
We didn't see.
I usually make a comparison with the medical profession, because a medical doctor, he may join his peers, go to congresses, learn from the ones that are very experienced in their profession and perhaps in any specific area within their profession. But most of the time, they are not getting together to discuss. They are there at the hospital or clinic or whatever, seeing patients. And every now and then they get together to learn from the experience of their peers, and of course to learn from someone who is, an expert, as I said before. But that is rare, They don't keep all their time, their daily working hours meeting with their peers to discuss the profession instead of, That's how I see. The medium, most of the time, most of the mediums should be working with the suffering, providing the assistance they need. And when, a good spirit comes to give us counseling, to help us in our moral improvement, that perhaps we are not paying attention to certain aspects, or we need guidance for the work that we are doing. Yeah, it's every now and then, and not a common, situation.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
So avoidance of anything in communicating with spirits that is indeed solely for satisfying one's curiosity. This is also very important. A spiritist meeting, the purpose of a spiritist meeting is serious. I'm not saying that it's A and B, because there are groups whose purposes are very specific. But what Kardec is saying is that curiosity shouldn't be the aim of one who seeks the work of mediumship or a group, whatever.
There was
Respectful.
something
Go
that
on.
happens to me. I know that we shouldn't be curious about anything, right? In the meeting, in theory, but we are human beings nevertheless. And with a group of spirits I'm familiar with, I'm used to work with, and one day he said, well, I have a curiosity that I want to ask. He stopped me straight away. We are not here to answer curiosities. So, okay, all right, thank you. The serious spirits, they will not entertain curiosity.
Yeah. What good for the work can I, get from the answer? Oh, it's just curiosity, so forget it, It's like asking the spirit, oh, I know that some spirits, they can see into the future. Can you give me the number for the lottery next week?
And there's something too. We need to know what we will ask, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we ask a question, and sometimes the answer is not what we want to hear.
Yeah.
I had the pleasure myself to witness an answer like, I would recommend you to read the Spirit's book, because the answer is there. So, oh, all right, thank you. So things like that, it comes from time to time,
Yeah. Or even a question, can you give us a moral orientation or guidance, how we should proceed in this and that? Go and read the gospel. You'll find everything there. So we have plenty of material, it's just that sometimes we want to take a shortcut. We want to get things ready, and, so it's also important for us to exercise our, reasoning and analyzing and reading, and we want to spare us this work. But, we are not here to, have just everything, made ready for us, ready-made solutions for us. It's part of our development to work hard to find the best solution.
And Moni is also about taking, not giving the responsibility of the decisions of our lives to others, isn't it? Because they want, it is our life. We have, as you said, we have enough material, enough guidance there to read and go and reflect, so we can decide, isn't it?
Yeah.
I find this theme about the curiosity very interesting, because obviously, as Guilherme said, we are always curious, but what is the main thing that is motivating us to go and take part of a meeting, isn't it? what is the main thing? And where is this curiosity coming from? Is it coming from of a genuine will to learn? Or is it coming from an arrogant place of, I want you to convince me of something? So there is quite, things that we only us can evaluate, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And I'm a bit concerned with this new generation because they want ready-made solutions. If you say, well, you need to find out the answer to this problem, go and read this book. Oh, no, no, no. They go into the internet and they want to find a, ready-made solution. Oh, I can put this, in chat GPT, and chat GPT will bring everything for me. So when it comes to mediumship, we have to have a strong background. We need to, think about the solutions, not get, the solution. Oh, I'll ask so and so, and he'll tell me what to do. No, it's our personal experiences, it's the work that we are doing. And sometimes there are certain particularities regarding our mediumship, our group, the type of work that we do, that, we are the ones that should try to establish what is the best practice regarding that type of work, and not just adapt ready-made solutions and, sparing us the work of studying, going back to the book, reading the medium's book again, and trying to see what Kardec is saying and say, well, I think he's saying that. Let me, apply that and see. So this is important because it is an exercise for our improvements, to get a solution ready, made for us, and saying, well, this is how you sort out this problem. Just do it, full stop. It's preventing us from development. Hi, Cleo.
Sorry, hi. It's just a quick comment. Sometimes people say, why Chico Xavier doesn't come back and give us a message? And then when we ask, have you read his books? Oh, do you know what he was talking about? Then they haven't read most of his books. And then all the message is already there. So, and the things that we need to know. So there is no reason for him to come back and say something if we haven't even studied his work.
Yeah, it's
Speaking
interesting.
About him,
Yeah.
speaking about him, I'm led to believe he's very active, as he was when he was on Earth, But imagine now a medium that will sign a message, Chico Xavier. What is going to happen to this medium? You know that the spiritists, they are very charitable people, right? So I ask again, what is going to happen to this medium? We'll burn that medium. Because we are very, very spiritualized, chances are 9 out of 10 that will say something that won't be productive for the medium, for the message, for anyone. 9 out of 10. So I wouldn't be surprised if he may have already sent messages without signing. Maybe with a code name, another name, to protect the medium. We are so deep into our own thoughts that we think that it's not possible that a medium will receive his message. Or the medium is faking it, or anything else. So the day that we improve ourselves, our morale, the way we perceive things, and I'm being very generic here, not targeting anyone, or perhaps I'm targeting the whole spiritist in the world, then yes, You'll be free to sign a message. Another prime example, Kardec himself. How many messages he signed after he passed away? How many messages Denis signed? Because people will not believe, and perhaps will create more harm than anything else. To have those spirits sending us messages, we need to have a proper structure, something that most of people will not be able to refute. There's another way of seeing things like that too. Ooh, I'm receiving messages from Kardec. I am the chosen. I'm having messages from Chico Xavier. I'm the chosen one. Sorry, guys. The rest of 1,000 mediums around the world, you know nothing. You know? There's that part as well. So then, what is important? The content of the message. The content of the message. I saw one medium passing a psychophony that I truly believe was Chico. The way she was speaking was him. Can I say that was him? No. Did she say that was him? No. There was a medium, I think, in Minas, a couple of years after he passed away. Minas Gerais is a state back in Brazil. But the way it sounds, the way he spoke, even the mouth was perfect. The physiognomy of the medium has changed when she was incorporated. But how many people would accept that as a true thing, you know? And would that change anything? Possibly not. Possibly not. It's a shame. It's a shame. And there's so much controversy amongst spiritists that sometimes things that could happen to help the movement as a whole doesn't happen because we stop that before he's born. So one day, maybe, we have a lot to do before that happens. Sorry.
Yeah. No, thank you. Shall we move on then? Okay. So respectful concentration and silence during conversations with spirits. We spirits deserve, as much respect from us as any other living person. So, they are not, how would I put it, different beings. They are us without a body. So, they deserve all respect. And the seriousness of a meeting and the seriousness of the mediums is shown actually in the effort to keep the concentration, the silence, and also the way we treat the spirits. Association of all participants through thoughts when evoking the spirits. Oh, no, I've done my bit here. I'll think about that problem. And, now it's the turn of this medium, that medium. And, we are a group. And we should stay as a group from the beginning of the meeting to the end of the meeting. Oh, sometimes it's difficult. It is difficult. No one said it is easy, but it is an exercise that requires practice. So we should do our utmost. And of course, we are always supported by good spirits in this effort, if our intentions are good. Oh, today, I got here very much agitated. I had problems all afternoon, and now I have the meeting. I can just put aside all these problems that I had to sort out during the afternoon, and it wasn't nice. It was very, very much a hard time, but make the effort. Say no, okay, they are outside on the other side of the door, and I'll concentrate and ask, connect to the benefactor, ask for assistance. We'll get it, but we have to start it. We have to make this effort. association of all participants through thoughts. Kardec mentions here when evoking spirits, we don't do that often, but when receiving spirits or spirit communication. Harmony amongst all mediums, rejecting any sentiment of pride, vanity, and superiority, while supporting the sole desire to make themselves useful. Also is, oh no, he's a beginner. Oh, he doesn't know. His communications are not, entirely serious. I mean, he's just starting and saying that, oh, I'm a better medium, a more experienced medium. No, everyone there is a worker, and we get surprises sometimes, people who've been working within mediumship for years and years, and all of a sudden, someone who is a beginner or who seems to be, very simple in their way and so on, receives great messages. And this case I like very much to repeat. It was told by Divaldo Franco in one of his talks, that this dialoguer was dialoguing with an obsessing spirits and was basically being very rude towards the spirits. And the spirit was saying, no, I won't give up, I won't abandon this person. No, and, they started an argument, almost, they almost got to a point of starting a fight. The medium and, the spirit through the medium and the dialogue. And then when they realized, the group realized that the situation was getting out of control, one medium, not the one that was receiving the spirit, but an old lady, very simple, very humble person, he asked, to talk, to say a few words to the spirit. And she treated the spirit as a son. My son, come on. So she spoke in a very soft, sweet voice, talked to him as if, was very dear to her. And the spirit was moved by that and said to her, okay, I'll do that for you because you treat me with love. You treat me as a human being. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't change my mind. So showing that, we shouldn't say, oh, I'm very good, very experienced, very, versatile in speaking and find complicated words to dialogue with the spirits, or, I'm a very good medium, I receive so and so, and, I get communications wherever I want. And so what Kardec is saying, that we have, should have a sole desire to make ourselves useful. I'm an instrument. Whatever has been assigned to me during this meeting, I'll do my best to cope with the task. That's what we should think. And give love and support to all the others while they are giving their communication. Otherwise, we'll always measure ourselves with the others to see, and if we find someone who is a very good medium in terms of, giving themselves to the work, we say, oh, he's in creating that. It's a creation of his mind, and a spirit wouldn't say that, or a spirit of this level wouldn't talk through him, or, So this is something that we should try to read ourselves of, at least while in a spiritist mediumship work. Are these conditions so difficult to fulfill that no one will be able to meet them? We do not think so. Instead, we hope that truly serious groups, like those that already exist in various places, will multiply, and we do not hesitate to state that Spiritism owes its broadest growth to them. By uniting serious and conscientious men and women, they will impose silence on our critics, and the purer their intentions, the more they will be respected, even by their adversaries. So we see that the type of work, the dedication, the simplicity, the truthfulness of the work that we do will be our, advocate in any situation. So even those who criticize won't have a thing to say, perhaps invent, but not, to show that that group is not working properly, is not doing this or not doing that. And since Guilherme mentioned Chico Xavier was someone who no one had a thing to say negatively regarding him. What they did was actually invented, created, forged situations that were created and, of course, exploited to show that he wasn't who people believed he was, and he work was a farce, and so on and so forth. But in all situations, we see that afterwards, people realize that, yes, this is not true regarding him. He is, a wonderful person. So when mockery attacks what is truly good, it fails to elicit laughter and instead becomes despicable. Among groups of this type, ties of true sympathy will be formed along with mutual solidarity through the very force of the circumstances, thereby contributing to overall progress. Very important piece of advice. The group will be united, will be strong, will grow together, when all these aspects are not neglected within, with its members. Three, 4, 2. It would be wrong to suppose that meetings specially dedicated to physical manifestations are exempt from this fraternal harmony and the requirements of seriousness. Even if they do not require such strict conditions, it does not mean that they can be frivolously held and observed with impunity. It would also be wrong to think that the concurrence of the participants is unimportant during such sessions. I'll just make a comment here, because physical manifestation requires fluids that are much denser, that are, closer to the material body than it would normally be in other circumstances. And of course, it is the condition of those participating in this meeting, and sometimes even in an audience, because, in some situations, people used to do this, materializations in front of a larger group. That can be affected.
Munir,
We shouldn't, yeah?
I would like to also bring to the attention the word impunity. That does not mean that somebody will come to punish you, no, but there are consequences, right? On the mediumship of physical effects, they are required to do that type of meeting. You need to be thorough. You need to be serious. You need to be organized. You need to look after your own physical body as well. Proper food, the right one before the event. There's a lot of things that needs to be done to ascertain the security of this type of meetings, right? And one person that may not be sharing the same line of thought is enough to disrupt whatever is happening on that session. And the consequences can be very harmful for the medium that is donating the fluid. So this is no joke, right? And when we see people trying to play with that without knowing what they are doing, there are risks. So we need to have that in mind.
Yes, and as Karlik points out, it's not providing any moral teaching or assistance of suffering spirits in principle, but it should be seen in the same, as seriously as any other mediumship meeting. And as you said, Guilherme, because in the case of materialization, the fluids that I used and dealt with are much denser. They can have a greater impact in the medium, even physically. Yeah.
We also have to remember that ectoplasm, electricity, magnetism is neutral. It can be used to do good or to do harm. So you need to ascertain your surroundings, your spiritual environment, to be sure that whatever you're doing is going to be used properly by good elevated spirits, not the other ones. It's like the atomic energy can be used for a lot of good things, but also can be used to do a lot of harm. We need to know what to do. When, where, with whom, why. So many questions we need to ask before we try to go on this path.
Proof to the contrary is in the fact that frequently the manifestations of this kind, even when produced by well-gifted mediums, cannot be obtained in certain surroundings. Contrary influences also act upon these manifestations, and it is certain that such influence results from differences in or hostility of the participants' sentiments, which neutralize the spirit's efforts. I've seen once a medium that does painting through mediumship. And he said, people who come here already doubting and saying, he's a farce, he's this, he's that, affects me. And before, reading and learning from the medium's book, I thought that, oh, come on, it's between him and the spirit who's painting, But we clearly see that the surroundings, the doubts, the preconceived ideas, the intention of the audience affects the medium. And can we imagine a smaller group in working within mediumship if this difference, happens also within this small group working with mediumship, let alone the audience, just the small group. So that's why Kardec says harmony, the common ideas and sentiments of the group are very important. And in physical manifestation, this can even be we can clearly see the results of that. Physical manifestations, as we have stated, are very useful. They open up a vast field of observers because an entirely new order of strange phenomena unfolds in front of them, the consequences of which are incalculable. And I just bring to our attention the fact that Kardec didn't believe in spirit before being invited to a session of turning tables, which was physical manifestation. But his intentions there wasn't to go with preconceived ideas. He had his beliefs, but he wanted to see what was going on. And as a scientist, as an inquisitive mind, he went there to understand what was behind that. And the result we all know. So we see that, yes, they can be very useful, not for amusement, because Kardec, amongst all the other people who witnessed physical manifestation, was, amongst the very few who took it seriously. What happened to the others? What happened to people who used to go regularly to amuse themselves with turning tables and Ouija board and all sorts of physical manifestations? I suspect that most of them didn't take it seriously, but just as an amusement. But for Kardec, look what resulted, what came out of that, that day that Kardec went to see what was going on. Therefore, meetings can have a serious purpose in being occupied with these phenomena, but they will not attain their objective as a means of study or proof for strengthening convictions if such meetings are not held under favorable conditions. We know that in many cases, depending on the conditions, depending on the intentions, the fact that we have discussed that people charge sometimes for you to go and see, and without, saying that, each one has the right to decide what to do, but not to say that this is correct, that is correct. But we should be careful when looking at the conditions. So in certain cases, we may leave a door open to, those who want to find an excuse to contest the work and the manifestation and the existence of the spirits even. That's why it should be taken seriously. And Kardec is mentioning here conviction and so on. So the purpose, it won't bring moral teachings directly, but it will help us to see and start to think about new reality if we take it seriously, if the work is done in, Kardec, as Kardec says, favorable conditions. The participant's faith is not the first condition. Rather, the first condition is their desire to be enlightened, without ulterior motives or the preconceived thoughts to reject everything outright, even the evidence. So against that, someone who comes with preconceived ideas and already, rejecting everything, there's no argument that we'll convince. We know that. We are, living a moment where people have their opinion and they don't want to hear what other people have to say. They just give up reasoning. They just give up common sense just to stick to their opinion, to what they believe, and no evidence will move them, not at this point. The second condition is a reduced number of participants in order to avoid heterogeneity. Even though physical manifestations are usually produced by little evolved spirits, look, little evolved, not evil spirits. Compared to pure spirits, we are little evolved spirits. But we can say that we are, evil spirits as such. It does not mean that their purpose is any less providential. Good spirits supervise them whenever useful results may be realized. In a factory, it's not the CEO who is there working on the machines or, doing the blue collar type of work, as it's normally said. But he has people who, are prepared to do that kind of work. We can't say that, those blue collar people have the condition in administrative aspects point that the CEO has. But they go and they do their work supervised by people, who work on a different level. It's the same here. Little evolved spirits, they have denser fluids. They are close to the material level that we are in the physical world. So they can operate on the physical level as such much better than a spirit whose perispirit is already rarefied, is so far away from the density of the material world. So these little evolved spirits, or say closer to the material world spirits, they are better prepared in this sense to be supervised and to do the work. So they can, work on physical effects much better, provide this work under the supervision of good spirits. Because every time we see little evolved spirits, we think, oh, they are evil spirits. They are spirits who still have a lot to evolve, but not necessarily with evil intentions.
A good example, Munir, is that we are little evolved spirits ourselves.
Yeah.
So there's no shock in that, no?
No, yeah. When you go to the categories of worlds and spirits and so on, we see, we are on the third category there, somewhere there, So we see that, there are, many categories above us, and compared to them, we are little evolved spirits. But I don't think that we are evil spirits. We may have some, negative tendencies still, because we are closer to the beginning than to the end as such, but we are working on that. And as the spirits here say so many times, they are adamant that what counts is the effort that we make towards, creating a better condition for what we do, and of course for ourselves.
And this is a very simple detail that everyone forgets.
Yeah.
And we do create lots of expectations on, for example, mediums or people from various religious orientation here in the, in the Spiritist movement. We do that a lot. We create expectations a lot on other people because they have to be great now. You
Yeah.
can't make any mistake or feel anything else. But we forget that we are still in this world that have more bad than good.
Yeah.
So it is, and then we forget this is a representation of what we have still inside to sort, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And we are always thinking of the others, we forget ourselves. We forget that the main purpose of, getting to know and to work within Spiritism for us is our own improvement. Because when we improve ourselves, when we work to rid ourselves from our imperfections, we start to offer a better person, better us, better version of us to other people, to whatever we do within the Spiritist context, in our work, to our family, to our friends, to society as a whole. And that's how the world will change. We get into a regeneration phase. It's not because one day the earth will be different. The trees will be marvelous, will be sparkling, and oh, the air is fresh. No. The earth won't change that much. We will change. The regenerating world is more or less the same, but the individuals who inhabit it will be better.
And those who study Joanna de Angelis, as she talks a lot about this side of us from still our primitive minds, isn't it? Still very much at forefront. And if we accept it about ourselves, we become a bit more charitable towards others anyway.
Yeah. It's interesting. I want to mention something because we have a study on Wednesdays. I'm not making any advertisement here, but everyone's welcome to join us. But to read the book Heaven and Hell very slowly, step by step, we learn so much with the spirits who found themselves in the spirit world in difficult conditions, and they analyze themselves. They see what they did wrong. We see the process, how much they suffer until the day they realize that they need to change, and the plans they make, the effort they make, the assistance they get, it applies to our daily life.
That's an amazing
We are
book.
seeing, it is.
It is.
We are seeing ourselves at that.
I think
And
what
this is one of
Sorry, Monique, carry on.
No problem. Yeah.
I thought you forgot. You finished. Go on.
No, go on.
But I think
yeah.
what I learned a lot about heaven and hell is the how Kardec helped us to come away from that bad and good struggle throughout the world to a evolutionary path that we all have to see the people, all the spirits onto, not, you are bad, you are good. We are all in this evolutionary path, some forward, some still to the back. I think that was an amazing book to help us to change the mindset to that we are all in our own ways to go towards a kind of perfection that is appropriate to us as human beings.
Yeah, and help us with the mediumship rescue work that we do as well, because we have an idea what some of the spirits are going through, and that's very good. Liz Ashley,
Hey there.
she's one that is with us on Wednesdays.
It's actually very helpful that, as Liz was saying about the evolutionary path and, regarding heaven and hell, to actually ascertain where we actually are on the staircase. And we can ascertain that by knowing that there are 7 densities, the divine being the 7th density, and inanimate objects the 1st density. We are 3rd density, and our planet in the universe is a service to self planet. It's still that backward. And our opportunity now on this planet, which is below halfway, if there are 7 densities, our opportunity now is to move from service to self to service to others, which is exactly what we're studying here. And these books that we were given and by the spirits and Kardec are our roadmap. They are our essential roadmap to keep in our mind all the time. Every decision we make, every choice we make, where does it fit? Is it service to self or is it service to others?
Wonderful. Thanks, Liz.
You're welcome.
Well, we're getting to the end of the meeting. I think we stop here. Next week, we start studying the subjects for study. This is also a very interesting part. So I'll ask those who could read, prepare the questions for next week. Would be very nice. Very good. Don't know if Guilherme has anything to say before we hand over to...
Was a good study, as always. Yeah. Looking forward to be here again next week.
Yeah. Who is going to do the irradiation?
I can do Moni.
You can. Okay.
Rafael
All
is
right,
not
I'll
here
stop
today.
sharing then. Yeah, I will hand it over to you, Pablo. Thank you so
All
much.
right. So, my friends, as we do every Saturday, and we welcome colleagues from other spiritist centers that joins us on Saturdays, we dedicate these few minutes to vibrate together. Just like it was said just a minute before, in a service to others, to our brothers and sisters that are all around the world suffering so much with climate change, floodings, with drought, with extreme weather, with issues with food, with drinking water, and also despicable acts of violence and war. Let's ask our Father to shed some light all around, to help us to amplify the waves of love, of care, of being charitable to our neighbors, to the ones who live far, to the ones that are isolated, feeling persecuted, feeling hopeless. And may this wave of love reach their hearts and minds, giving them comfort, reminding them that our Father is always with us. And there is no such thing as everlasting evil, that there is light, and we are giving our small steps towards it. Father, help this to reach out to the ones in need. We are donating, vibrating our love and care, the minimum we can do. We thank you for this opportunity, and may this really be amplified.
Amen.
So be it.
So be it.
Well, thank you very
Thank
much,
you,
everyone.
Father. Thank you all.
Looking forward to see you all
Thank
again this week.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Take care.